Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and welcome to week 11 of Summer Hacks. We are starting off this week with a speaker series, and today we are hearing from Kerry Chang, who is an engineering manager at Instabase and also my wonderful boss. So
Thank
first,
you.
really quick, Kerry, no problem. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Just talk about your name, your background, and what you do at Instabase.
Sure, yeah. So hi everybody, my name is Kerry. I am currently an engineering manager at Instabase. So I've been at Instabase for almost a little bit more than 2 years, actually. We are a startup focusing on the financial industry. The majority of our product focuses on letting business users build data extraction or document understanding workflows. So for example, if you're a bank and your customers come to you with some semi-structured data, such as a bank statement or a pay stub, things that's usually in a PDF or an image. We help our customers, those banks, build programs that can automatically read those documents and extract out key value pairs that our customer wants to know. For example, if you're a loan processing department at a bank, you will want to know from a pay stub, who is this, who is the employee, who's the person, who is the employer, what's that person's gross pay, net pay, etc. in order to know whether to approve the loan or not. So we're the program that's helping the banks to do it automatically without humans to come in and review. So at Instabase, I worked on multiple products from that central workflow system to all the way to like extraction techniques. How can we use rules or machine learning to try to understand an incoming document? So yeah, that's what I do as an engineering manager at Instabase. I think I came from an academia research background. So my grad school, my research was in human-computer interaction and programming tools. So thinking about how we can, I'm always excited about the idea is how can we make programming easier for people who are not professional programmers through building better tools, libraries, etc. So yeah, been a student for a long time and then went to IBM research as a researcher for 2 years before joining Instabase.
Okay, lovely. And by the way, guys, Instabase, fantastic company. Highly recommend applying for their next internship season, which will start sometime soon. But anyway, what I'd like to do, just for the short amount of time that we have today, is I just want to go in a bit of a chronological order of, kind of, I guess your life,
okay.
You mentioned to me earlier that you had a pretty different path from most people, I imagine, that we've heard from at this event. So as I understand it, it was for student to research scientist at IBM to your current role at Instabase, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So can you talk a little bit about, I guess, your college years and then also the transition to IBM?
Sure, yeah. So I was born and raised in Taiwan. High five for anyone who's from Taiwan listening to this. So I grew up in Taiwan. I did an undergrad in computer science at Taiwan. I think when I was an undergraduate student, I really found myself more interested in the people side of computer, like how can we use computer technology to influence people's life compared to like the math or theory side of computer science. So I think that's the reason that pushed me to, when I applied for grad school, look for programs that have an emphasis on human-computer interactions and professors who focus on that. So I ended up going to Carnegie Mellon. I think at Carnegie Mellon, just got really, I think because I come from a computer science background, programming is all we do. So very naturally, when I think about, human-computer interaction, programming is actually the oldest way for people to interact with computers. So there's actually a lot of research that can be done there. So I picked like programming tools, programming languages as my research domain within human-computer interaction. So when I was in grad school, I was just really interesting to see how, what are some tasks that people who are not professional programmers want to do with computer that they can't do easily. So I'm interested in understanding the user, I guess, besides just using computer to do programming and create software. So I took a bunch of classes in grad school to just basic psychology research methods, so understand how to interview users, do survey, and I actually did a bunch of those when I was at school, trying to just understand, what's the problem that's worth experimenting. So what came back to me at that time was just a lot of people want to use computer to solve data problem. Like people who are programmers know how to use databases to solve data problem, but people who are regular users don't have that knowledge or that skills to actually do it. So a lot of times
it's a bit of a learning curve too.
Yeah, so a lot of time data goes into like spreadsheets, Excel, which is like the most common place for end users to store data. So my research ended up just trying to extend the spreadsheet metaphor to basically make spreadsheet sort of like a front end for a backend database. So imagine a spreadsheet, you can do a lot of, you can sort, you can filter, you can view data, you can aggregate data through like pivot tables and stuff. They can be sort of mapped into like database operations. So sort of make that part easier for an end user to do. Kind of like if you know Airtable, like thinking back, like okay, it's a product, but it's like like my grad school happened earlier than Airtable, but thinking about Airtable is probably a similar, reflects some of the idea I think I had when I was in grad school. Yeah, and then try to extend spreadsheets to even be a backend database for a web page. So basically, in a web page, you can I have this prototype that let people write spreadsheet functions to say, oh, data in this text box will go to spreadsheet cell A1, and then that spreadsheet cell A1 will get sent into a backend database to do a bunch of query, come back and fill in column B and C, and column B and C will be show up in the front end interface as a list or something. So people
that sounds like a precursor to Instabase almost.
Yeah. That's actually how my grad story is actually how I got to know Anand Barwaj, the CEO of Instabase. We're from different schools, but we publish at similar set of conferences, so we know each other by our work. Yeah, so that's actually how I got drawn into Instabase, I guess, years later. So did a bunch of projects, prototypes at school, and then when I graduated, I think at that time I just wasn't sure if I want to still stay in academia or go to industry and make product. So I sort of picked a position that sort of in between these two. Right. So basically ended up in the industry research lab. So I was at IBM for 2 years. At IBM, I worked at a cloud research team. So at that time, my focus is more on creating programming tools for professional cloud developers. So made a bunch of visualization tools, internal like profiling tools to help people understand the performance of their cloud software. I think my times at IBM really makes me understand that I want to really make product impact. I think the rewarding, the feeling of like accomplishment, I really feel that more when I actually work on product that people use, more
as opposed
than
to research?
publishing academia research papers. That were just on papers. Like a lot of people read them. That's also have a lot of value. But I think at that time I just really want to see all these ideas I have experimented in school, can they actually become something real, something that changed people's life. So decided to go all the way to the extreme to join a startup. I reconnect with Anand, Instabase CEO, I think summer 2018. We were chatting and he's like, oh, I started this new company and it's like something that we did in school, would you be interested? And I was like, sure. And then the 2 years at Instabase has been really just broadened my view. And then I think really I also learned that both as a computer scientist, a engineer, and also as a person. I think joining a startup is a very, very different experience than joining a big company that has all the structure set up, all the culture values set up, all the engineering practices set up. When I joined Instabase, I was the 11th person. So we're still a very small team and everybody is an engineer. The first few months or I don't know, I was in almost the first year just nonstop, like software engineering. Like you just write code all day and then you
Yeah,
push
yeah.
something and then you just feel like, wow, I built something and then that thing got shipped to customers in a week or 2 weeks. And they were like, wow, people are actually using my stuff, it just in such a short period of time. So that was just really fun in the beginning. And then I not just do software engineering, but I think because I, just generally interested in how people use our product, like what's the real problem that users have and computers can solve. So I decided to sort of be temporarily going from core engineering to what we at that time called customer engineering. Right now in Instabase, we call them application engineering, but basically just engineers who work more closely with customers to create like the data extraction workflow for them using Instabase. So I did that for almost like half a year. Just really, went and, talk to customers every day, understanding their data, what they want to extract, and help them actually go to production with programs created on Instabase. And I think that time really gave me a good understanding of, what we lack in our product, where do we want to go, how can we be better. So I think last year around October, November, I went back to core engineering again. That's the great thing about startup is it's easy to go. I think go between organization even because we're so pretty small, right? So
right.
Thing. So yeah, I went back to core engineering late last year, and then this year become an engineering manager. Just try to implement a lot of the ideas I have at customer side to make them real.
Yeah, and you're doing a fantastic job.
I'm enjoying it. I think it's great to see your ideas become real stuff, and to participate in that, work with great people together.
I'll say,
have fun. Yeah.
Fantastic. That was a lot. I'm planning on diving a little bit deeper into some of what you just said, but really quickly, we do have a live question.
Cool.
I think you were one of our few speakers who went to and completed grad school and now has a pretty cool industry role. So somebody asks, what are your thoughts on whether it's worth going to grad school for data science and ML specifically, or I guess you could just answer generally if you don't know about the specific field.
Right. So when you say grad school, I guess master's degree and PhD degree.
I presume masters.
Okay. So for master's degrees, it's hard to say. I think it really depends on what you want and whether something you want is something that you can get right now, right? So I did a PhD degree because initially I wanted to be a professor, and that you can only do so when you have a PhD.
We have a PhD, yeah.
So think about after nobody's end goal is getting a PhD or getting a master, right? Everybody wants the thing after it, and then you want this experience to enable you that. So think about what you want to do after that. And then say, do I need a master's degree to do this? Or do I need a PhD degree to do this? And if the answer is yes, based on your research, you have to do some studies, of course, right? If you want an industry position, you have to look around the industry to see people who have similar positions. Do they have the degree or not? If the answer is yes, I need this, then go for it, right? As an investment for your future. But don't go in just because everybody has the grad degree or just do that. Really think about what you want out of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. I plan to do some similar research to see if I want to get like a master's or an MBA or something. Thank you for asking that question. If you would like to, ask a follow-up, please feel free. I'll ask it as soon as I can. But for now, moving on. Can you talk a little bit more about your role at IBM? Because this is one that I don't think I've heard much about. So what exactly you did, and I guess what the team structure was like.
Yeah, so IBM, I think, is one of the few places that right now still have sort of a formal research labs. I think probably just Microsoft and IBM have that. So for IBM, there is a separate organization from the product side at IBM that there's basically an org called IBM Research, kind of like Microsoft. There's an org called Microsoft Research. So for IBM Research, the majority of the people at IBM Research are like PhD graduates who want to do research, but for whatever reason didn't go into academia. I guess wanted to do research problems that's closer to like real industry problem, I
Mhm.
guess. So yeah, so majority of the people at IBM Research are called research staff member.
Mhm.
And the way you're being evaluated at research labs are based on like the number of, usually we call it like publication, but that is like number of papers or
Sure.
workshop papers, stuff that you attend. I think, what are the three P? Oh, publication, patent is one of them.
Mhm.
Publication can also include not just research paper, but like very impactful blog posts and very impactful
Or articles
white
maybe.
papers, articles,
Yeah.
like Medium blogs or stuff like basically. And then the other is patents. So a big part of being a researcher is how IBM can make a research lab usually make money by just getting a lot of patent, and if one of those patents get used in the future, the company earn money on that. So yeah, that's like mostly the structure of it. So at IBM Research, you have people from, you also have, I think, a small amount of engineers that will work with the research team to do some more implementation heavy research. Most people are researchers, and you can level up by being like a senior researcher, distinguished researcher, etc.
I see. And you had a researcher role.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
in, okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. So at IBM, it's called research staff member. In Microsoft, probably called research scientist, but it's basically the same role, and the requirement is similar. So at IBM Research, the interview process is almost the same as interview as an academia professor. So you don't do like software engineer interview anymore. It's not like coding or algorithm question, etc. But and you talk to everyone in the department, about how you guys may collaborate in the future, stuff like that. So yeah, it's more of it's just like a kind of like university professor, just without teaching and mentoring student part.
Okay, all right, very cool. And if I'm not wrong, you were also hired as like a research scientist at Instabase at first, right?
Yeah. So
did you ever really have like a research scientist at Instabase role?
So when I first joined, I think I was really given the freedom to explore what kind of role I want to be at Instabase. I think before Instabase, I was always in research or in school. Right? So I didn't really know what a product focused role would be like. When I joined, what I know is, I'm really interested in those problems, and I think I can think about, really new ways or creative ways to solve those problems. So I will still be, applying, the same research method and spirit, right? You want to make something new, make something unique to solve those industry problems. But I think at a startup, research role is very different from like more traditional research role, like at school or at research labs even. So the more traditional side of research role, the end goal people want is research publications like papers. So people actually don't really, the requirement on the actual product, like the actual implementation of your research idea, is not that high in like universities or in research labs. So there's more of a focus on the ideas. Right. So you want to kind of come up ideas very, very quickly and have a good prototype to evaluate your ideas and publish a paper. Whereas in startup, right, you still need to, you definitely need creative thinking. But the end result is definitely not the ideas. Often you found ideas are very cheap. Everybody have ideas. Yeah. What's really important, what can really make a difference, is your implementation, your execution of that idea. Right. So in the startup, it's all about having, don't have too many ideas and then work on all of them, because that's not going to give you a mature software.
Sure.
Really, be careful or be really think through your ideas, pick a really good one, and then execute it really well to make a good product. So at Instabase, I feel like I'm still doing some research, but definitely a lot of my time is actually focusing on the execution of a innovative idea.
I see. Yeah. And it seems like even not even now, but like when you were first hired, since you had to implement your ideas, you had more of an engineering focus that you might have had in other roles throughout your life as well.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very cool. Okay. And then this is one of the questions I was very much looking forward to asking. So you've worked at big company, IBM, and then
Mhm.
small company, Instabase. So what are your thoughts about any sort of difference or comparison you can make between the two? And it can be cultural, or it can be, structural, or just the type of work that you do. What are your thoughts, and do you prefer one over the other, and why?
Yeah, so sorry, I can definitely share that.
Mhm.
Obviously I'm in a startup right now, so I like
Right.
a startup better, but I won't say which one is better. Like overall, I think that it's different style, right? So
Sure.
what is in the big company you can expect uh is order and structure, right? Like in the big company, like structure is actually a very hard thing to figure out and do it correctly, right? To
Mhm.
implement it correctly. And when you join a big company like IBM, like Google, like Facebook, right? They are really, they have their startup time, but now they're going to a big company. They're a lot more stable. Internally, they have a lot more structure on how certain things should be, executed.
Mhm.
You might be able to actually witness like really good engineering practice going to those big companies because a lot of stuff is already set up. People have more time basically compared to a startup to really fine tune those process. So it's actually, I mean, big company can be a very good place to learn if you like to learn in a way that's very structured, very organized.
Mhm.
Um, what startup on the other hand is like the extreme, right? Especially if you join a early stage startup, kind of like Instabase, we're just over 100 people,
Mhm.
so we're still pretty small. Um, a, a small company when it's first set up, usually it's usually it's a very flat hierarchy. Usually there's not much structure, but also means there's maybe not that much order as well. So
Mhm.
things can seem chaotic sometimes. Like you sort of learn in a try error way that can seem like frustrating sometimes, right? So but one really I think the thing I love about startup is really ownership
Mhm.
is because the company is so small, so really everybody needs to be an owner of something, and that really motivates people, I think, in a lot of aspect, right? So no problem is like not my problem. Every problem on Instabase, and you will see people jumping because everybody is an owner of something, and when you feel ownership, it really gives you motivation to improve it, make it better, and you feel, I think, overall more rewarding as well. That's something I think I feel less in the big company because there's just, first of all, big company has a lot of different product, right? And then for
Mhm.
one product, there's like a lot of people work under them. You might inherit this particular piece of software that's being passed down for like the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Multiple people work on it. You don't really feel like I own this. You might
Mhm.
say, okay, I inherit this, and I may change something that's like a very very little part of a very big system. Like you don't see the effort of you don't see your effort reflect on the product that directly.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's the difference. So I think both is good. Depends on what kind of experience you like to have, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think one of the things that draws me more to my work at Instabase than prior companies I've been to is just being able to see your code right there. Like being able to make a change that's actually valuable pretty fast. Just because like the product is still like
Totally.
being formed, right? So it's like it's easier to mold that clay versus a big building that's already been made.
Yeah, and
For
that's
lack of a
that's on
better
the
analogy.
totally, and that's on the engineering side. I think from the startup, there's also the company building side
Hmm.
that is really really exciting for some people, right? Like, so again, it depends on personal interest. And if you join a big company, for the majority of us, especially if we just start our career, building a company will not fall on you, right? You
Right.
will
Right.
basically just be in the company that's already built.
Hmm.
But in the startup, you actually participate in a lot of those decisions in hiring, in deciding the company values and culture. And
Hmm.
I know for me, those are just a exciting thing to witness, and really help me learn a lot as a person.
Yeah. Perfect. hell is that? All right. I think that is actually all of the questions that I have prepared for you. It seems like we're like 25 minutes, which is a good amount of time. So I will wait just 1 or 2 minutes in case anyone has any live questions. And if not, then we can go ahead and call it a night. So I guess I did have one more question. So why did your role kind of like shift around so much at Instabase? Is that by design or because you wanted to change roles or?
Oh, I mean, I want to. First of all, because when you join an early stage startup, really you have to wear multiple hats, right? So you can't just say, okay, I'm a front end person, I only do front end, or I'm a back end person, I only do back end. Really is, something is on fire, you need to go and fix it.
Sure.
So really in the early stage, everybody is a recruiter, a engineer, a customer facing person, a salesperson that gives demos. So you really just have to do all these things. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think it broadened my view and made me realize what are the things that I'm really good at.
Do you see yourself changing roles again at any point in the near future?
No. I think after trying
you
out
found your
these,
niche.
No, yeah, I mean, I still like doing technical work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I found that what I enjoy the most is, I think maybe it's just because of my background. What I enjoy the most is really writing like early stages design document and try to really, scope out a feature that can, satisfy our customers' requests and get, have the technical design down in a way that, scalable, extendable. So I think that's what I really enjoy to do. Yeah, I thought initially that I would be enjoy like doing demo to customers or, really, chat a lot with customers, but now no, I'm happy to I'm happy to be an engineer focusing on technical stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. Still trying to find out which one I would prefer, but I guess that's what internships are for.
Yeah, and I think for anyone, especially you're in the beginning of your career, I think trying out, don't hesitate to try out new stuff because there's really nothing to lose right now, right? Computer science is such a great market. You need to be good at your fundamentals, really be good at your basics, and then just there's just so many opportunities.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any live questions, but as always, guys, if you do have any questions after the fact, please feel free to message me on Slack, and I will ask Kerry at a time that is convenient for her. But anyways, I think that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for speaking, Kerry.
No problem.
And everyone, if you're watching, have a great rest of your day and week. 3, 2,
Bye.